Hey guys, welcome to another video. And in this video, we will be studying operators in Java. Operators are basically mathematical symbols that you use, basic mathematical symbols that you use in mathematics, such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and some other complicated functions such as sine, cos, tan, which you would be doing in advanced grades. Now over here, I will be creating a new class called operators, but I have already created one. So even if you have to create a new class, right click on new class, and then you could give your um, class name. Okay, so over here I've already created a class, and you might have seen that I have already written some bunch of codes. Now over here I have written public class operators. So public means that this class is accessible to other classes. Even if I remove this won't mean much to the compiler because the compiler would automatically assume that this class is public to other users as well as programs. Class means that just assume that whatever block of code you write in Java will be written inside class. So the first word that you always have to write is class and then the name operators, unless and until you want to add some comment before class. Class operators and operators, the first word is capital. So just remember that whatever word you use to name classes, it might be two words, three words, etc., etc. But make sure that the capital, the first word, the first letter of the each word in that class name is capital. Curly braces to start a new block of code. In here, I've written public static void main. So public means that the method main, which tells the compiler that this program or this block of code should be run. Public basically means that this main method is public. Static means that whatever object, the object won't, there is no object. So what are objects is, it's a little complicated and we will be studying objects further, but basically all you have to remember is either you can create objects or you can add the word static. Now, one more thing that you have to remember in main methods is that main methods is a starting point where the compiler starts to compile the program. So even if you must have a set of codes written before main, the compiler will always be starting the code from main itself. Okay, so now I've added another pair of curly braces over here. Now you might notice that in my previous video I must have used string args, but even if you do not use it, it does not matter. Even if you write it as main and open bracket close bracket, it does not matter. It's according to you, your preference. Okay, so I enter and it has indented to a new line. And now we'll be starting our block of code in which I'll explain you all about operators. Now basically, now in this, what I'll be doing is I'll be writing uh, I will be storing some values inside variables of the data type int. So basically there are four data types. If you want more reference to data types, you can refer to my earlier video. And there are four data types, but to refer to numbers, to store numbers. There are two data types to store decimal values, but now we have to store numbers, so we will use int, because out of those four data types, int is the most used in the programming world of Java. So int num1 is the variable in which I'll be storing my value, say for example 10, and each line should end with a semicolon. Remember that, except in Python. So all of you who might have been introduced to Python, you might know that each line does not require a semicolon, but in Java it does. Int num1 is equal to 10, and int num2 is equal to, let's say, 20. Okay. Now, there's one more trick that you can follow if you want to, is that I could write these two lines. I can combine these two lines and write it in one line. So in num1 is equal to 10 and num2 is equal to 20. So either you can write like this or you could write like this. Accordingly, whatever is your preference, you could use it. Now over here, I'll be writing up and explaining you about the first operator, addition, in Java. So over here, I have written my code. So over here, what I have done is int num1, num2, a, b, c, d. So one way of doing this is, adding int in front of, in back of each one of these variables. But other method is I write int only one time and I initialize all these variables num1, num2, a, b, c, d with the data type int in the first line. So this is how you can initialize the variables first, so that you don't need to use int in every line before the variables over here. So one more way, if I could have done this, is int a, int b, int b, c, int d. But what I had done is I had initialized it in the first line only, so that there is no need for initializing the variable with the data type and behind it. Now over here, I have num1 is equal to 10, num2 is equal to 20. So A is equal to num1 plus num2. What this plus operator will do will add 10 and 20. What this subtraction operator will do is subtract 10 and 20. What this multiplication operator will do is multiply 10 and 20. And lastly, what this division operator will do is divide 10 and 20. Now over here, I have written system.out.println, and what this does is whatever text or whatever output you want to write on the output file, this you use system.out.println. You can also use system.out.print. But what this will do is, usually you use line to, take the line into the next line. So if I can compile this, and I'll show you. So what this will do is, this will be the output. So using print line, each new line will be added when an original line ends. So, but if you use, say for example, if you use ln in each case, if you do not use ln in each case, pardon, and you compile this and I open this, I'll just close. You have to close this terminal, this output window, and then only it will compile in BlueJ. So I'll just open this and I'll run this. See, now you see addition of 10 and 20 is 30, but this did not add this line to the new line. This continued the line on the original line. So if you want to follow this method, it's completely fine with you. But if you want to, bring the line into the next line, then you have to use ln in each case. Okay, great. Now, if you want to write a text or anything on the terminal window, you use double quotes. Whatever you want to print in the output window will come inside double quotes. Now, notice over here in my last video, I may not have explained this clearly, but this is not the plus operator. This does not work like this operator does. This is not an operator. This is basically a string concatenation. What does that mean? It adds these two entities to form one block of line or one line in the output or in the terminal window. So over here, num1 will have the value 10. So basically, this will write in the terminal window as addition of 10 and num2. Num2 is 20. So I will be showing you the compilation so you would understand it more better. I may not have compiled this. So you have to compile this, then only this void main will come. And when you compile this, notice that addition of 10 and 20. You might have noticed that it did not write addition of num1 and num2 is equal to. It did not write num1. It wrote the value of num1, which is 10, and num2, which is 20. Double quotes is equal to space space. Notice I have added spaces here. So if I did not add space over here, and if I compile this will give me 20. It will be a little shabby, it won't add any spaces between. So whatever you write inside the double quotes will be printed as it is on the terminal window. Now, one more warning to the Java beginners, that whatever word error that you make inside these double quotes, the Java compiler will not notice it, because whatever you write inside the double quotes will be printed on the terminal window itself. So make sure to check the spelling of the words again and again. Of num1 and num2, that is 10 and 20, is equal to a. Now it will not print a itself, but it will print num1 plus num2, 10 plus 20, which is 30. So if I go to my terminal window, addition of 20, 10 and 20 is a, which is 30. Similarly, all these operators are string concatenators, which join num1 and this entity, num1 and this entity, num2 and this entity. So they separate these strings. Okay, now similarly, you use the same logic 4 times. Subtraction of 10 and 20 is equal to minus 10. Multiplication of 10 and 20 is equal to C. C has the value 200 because 10 and 20 is multiplied over here, and I have called the variable over here, which gives us the value 200, and division of 10 and 20 is 0. Now notice over here that may not be the exact value. When you use int only stores number, it does not store uh, you know uh, decimal points, decimal numbers. So what I do is, if I remove this d over here and I write double, which is the default data type used to store decimal points or decimal numbers, double D, and I initialize it there and there. I compile it, and then I close this terminal window. 0.0. If I used int earlier, as I had done earlier, it would give me 0. But if I use double, it would show me 0.0. Okay, let's open our editor. And now over here, there are many ways in which you could do calculations. So over here, if instead of a, I just add one more bracket and I did uh, num1 plus num2, and I compiled it, I will run it. The output will be the same. So the output will be 30. Okay, the output will be 30. So either you could do like this, or you can make a variable which stores num1 plus num2 and call that variable, which is a in this case. Now we will be studying about logical operators. Logical operators are divided into three parts: logical and, logical or, logical not. So I'll be creating a new class. Click right click, new class, and then I'll be logical, and make sure that the first word is capital. So you just have to click OK, and a new class will be made. So just click on this, open editor. And first of all, when you create a new class, you would see these types of statements over here. So just click Control A, which will select everything, and delete it. Okay, so I will be writing class and the name logical, curly braces, and curly braces closed. Okay, so then I'll be writing public static void main. And either you want to write string args or you do not want to write string args, it's up to you. Okay, it's your preference. So I would prefer that, in this video, we won't write string args. Then open curly braces, close curly braces, and whatever, if you know, open curly braces and close curly braces, all block of code occurs inside open curly braces and close curly braces. So if I close this, notice, and I compile it, notice it will give me an error, and the error will be reached end of file while passing. So I have to give a curly brace over here, and it's indented to a new line. Okay, now we will be studying about logical operators. So I'll just write a code. So now you have a code that I have written right in front of you. Now over here, what I have done is I'll be explaining to you all about logical operators. So there are three types of logical. This is logical and, this is logical or, this is logical not. Now over here, these logical operators have the value Boolean. So you might have noticed that Boolean has two values. It's the data type which has two values, true or false. Now, one more way in which I could, initialize these variables is Boolean A, Boolean B, Boolean C. So I'll be writing Boolean before these variables, but the more easier way is that I initialize these variables on the first line itself, so that there's no need to write data types behind this variables again and again in Java programming. So 10 is greater than 20, which is false. So this will be false, and 10 is smaller than 20, which is true. Now notice, now you have to remember one thing in and logical and. If both the numbers, if one number is, let's say, true, and the other number is also true, then it will amount to true. Now, in the logical or, 10 is greater than 20, which is, of course, false, or 10 is smaller than 20, which is true. Now over here in the first line, if you see in A is equal to 10 is greater than 20, which is false. So this will be false. So I'll predict the output as false, because unless and until both the values are true, it will be false. So now if I comment it, double slashes comment. Now if both the numbers are false in case of OR, logical OR, it will be uh, if both the numbers are false, then it will be false. So what I'm trying to say here is that in AND operators, if one number is false and the other number is true, it will be false. If one number is true and the other number is false, then also it will be false. If both numbers are false, then also it will be false. But in the fourth option, in the fourth probability, if both the numbers are true, then only it will amount to true. Only if both the numbers are true. If one of them is false, then in the logical AND operator, the the output will also outcome to false. But in over in logical OR operator, if both there are four cases. One case is true false, the second case is false true, the third case is false false, and the fourth case is true true. Only and only if both the numbers are false false, then the number will amount to false in case of logical OR operators. C is logical NOT operator. So 10 is greater than 20. What do you think? It's false. But you might think that the output might be false, but logical NOT converts that false into true. So if I write this, 10 is smaller than 20, yes, it's true. But it won't print it as true, it will print it as false. Now over here, system.out.println, because I have to print my text or output on the terminal window, which is where all your output is printed. So is 10 is greater than 20 and 10 is smaller than 20 is A. Now over here, 10 is greater than 20 and 10 is smaller than 20. True, true is equal to true. So this is not the actual output. This will be false, true, and there are four cases. This is the false true. So only and only if both the numbers amount to true, then only the output will be true. But in this case, one is false. So now this will also be false. So now this will be false. So A will be storing the value false. In B, you have this as false, and but you have this as true. So this number will be true because 10 is smaller than 20. 10 is not greater than 20. If it was greater than 20, it would have been false. False, true is equal to true. If this were in logical AND, this will be false, but it's logical operator OR. So if even if one number is true, then also it will amount to true. 10 is smaller than 20, which is false, but the logical NOT operator will amount this to false, will amount this to true. So this will be false, this will be true, and this will be true. Okay, so let's try to run this. And you have to make sure that that whatever terminal window is already running in your system should be closed. Then only it will compile. Now let's compile this void main, and you might notice I will compare my predictions. So the first line is false. Yes, it's true. The second line is true. It's true. But the third line is false. Now I may have done something, you know, 10 is greater than 20, which is false, but it will amount to 2. So let's compile this again. Like main, it will open, and this is true. Even though 10 is smaller than 20, it is false. But this operator over here, logical NOT operator, it will amount this to true. Okay, so that was all about logical operators. Now over here, I will be explaining you all about ternary operators. Now I have made another program, another class in which I have written this block of code. Now I've written my usual public class ternary, public static void main. If you want to write string arguments inside this, that's according to you. I would prefer not to write it. Now I have already initialized these three variables A, B, C, so I do not have to, prefix this these three variables with int again and again. Now a and b store 10 and 20 respectively, the values 10 and 20 respectively. C is equal to a is greater than b question mark a colon b. Now this is the ternary, this is not the ternary operator, this question mark is the ternary operator, this question mark and the semicolon. So the symbol of ternary operator is question mark and colon. Okay. So now how does this work? So A will call the value 10. So I'll just give a rough representation in comments. So A is 10. Okay. A is 10 and then greater than 20 question mark A, which is 10 and colon B, which is 20. So 20 is stored inside B, 10 is stored inside A. So 10 is greater than 20. Now this value is false. So when it is false, it will evaluate to 20. Now I know this is a bit confusing, but I'll repeat myself again. If this expression amounts to false, so this expression will be false, this expression will be true. So if this expression is true, this value will be printed on the output window. But if this expression amounts to false, then the whole expression will be considered as 20. So let's run this. Okay, no changes need to be saved. I'll compile this. Make sure that no terminal windows are open so that compilation process is easier. Void main 10 is greater than 20 is 20. Now notice over here when I open my editor, 10 is greater than 20 was false. So this value was printed. Okay. So if you go to your terminal window, this expression amounted to false. So 20 was printed. But if I write this as 10 is smaller than 20, 10 is smaller than 20, and I compile this, I'll just close the terminal window. Because if you do not close your terminal window in BlueJ, so the compilation won't happen. Void main 10 is smaller than 20 is 10. Earlier it was 20, but now it's 10 because this expression amounted to true. So the value of 10 was printed. And finally, system.out.println, whatever value you have to write on the terminal window will be printed there. Now 10 is smaller than 20 is this will have no expression because it is written inside double quotes. Whatever is written inside double quotes, the Java compiler will blindly take that and print it on the terminal window, regardless of whether it has word errors or any compilation errors inside it. Plus. So this is not actually plus, this is a string concatenation which joins these two entities together to form one block of line. C will not print C itself, it will just print the value that is stored inside this. When this value, when this expression amounts to false in the true, I'm sorry, 10 is smaller than 20, so it's true. So A will be printed. A is 10, so this whole value will amount to 10. And when I compile this and I run this again, it will print me the value 10. Okay. So before ending this video to a final stop, all I would like to tell you is that when you print it 10 plus 10, it will amount to 20. But when you write 10 plus 10 after this double quotes 10, it will amount to 10 plus 10 only. So, let's try to compile this. Okay, so I've compiled this. I'll just close the terminal window. I just wanted to show you a common error that is used by programmers. When I open this void main 20, 10, 10, 10. So I will just compare this. Now look over what's happening over here. System.out.println 10 plus 10. When you have written 10 plus 10 before the double quotation strings, then it will amount to 20 because 10 plus 10 is 20. But after you have joined these entities together after this double quote entity, then it will only print 10 plus 10 10. So if you have to if you have to add 10 plus 10 but after this double quotes, so you have to write this under brackets. When you write this under brackets, so the Java compiler will print whatever is inside the brackets first, as in mathematics. So if you are given a DMAS program, uh, DMAS problem, and whatever is given inside the bracket will be calculated first then whatever is given inside curly braces, and then whatever is finally given inside the square brackets. So first of all, Java compiler will do 10 plus 10, which is 20. I'll just compile this, close the terminal window, run it again, and 20, 10, 20. So that's the difference. However, if you want to change the class name, another trick that I use is if you want to change the class name to line, say for example, and compile it, notice over here it's written ternary, but if I compile it, it will convert to line. So this is a few trick that I use in Java. So thanks. This brings us to the end of the video. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay home, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.